You once fought an orangutan?
It was at our little fair over here, and the guy brought this orangutan out, and he started hollering 5 for 50. Cost you 5, but pays 50. I put that headgear on, put the boxing gloves on, and got in the cage with him and shuffled my feet around like Muhammad Ali, like I'm finna knock him out. And of course, my boys, they ain't like 10, 15 yards from me, and they were like, kick his ass, Boo, kick his ass.
The following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. All right, everybody, it's time for another Dale Jr. Download, the guest edition, and we got a great guest for you. Not a racing driver or anybody in the NASCAR industry. It's Boo Weekley. Boo Weekley is a golfer, has had some success on the PGA Tour years ago. Now he plays on the Champions Tour, but a really colorful guy. A lot of y'all will recognize the name. You may even know some of the fun YouTube videos and sound clips, and he's just a great, great dude. He's a race fan, came to races back in the Bud days. We became friends, and I haven't talked to him in quite a while, but I did notice he's back on the course, and he's back playing after a little bit of a break from the game of golf. So interested to see what brought him back and what his expectations are going forward and what he's been up to. So let's get going. Boo Weekley on the Dale Jr. Download. All right, so Boo Weekley on the Dale Jr. Download. Boo, I want to say thanks for giving us some time today. I've been looking forward to this.
Oh, yeah, D. It's been a long time since we got to actually see eye to eye and look face to face to one another. Looks like we're getting a little older anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't know about you. I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm feeling rough.
Well, you're looking awesome, man.
Thanks.
And I know you got back. Yeah, you got back out on the course and back in the game a little bit. We want to talk about that some. But I guess me and you met. You were a race fan and a NASCAR fan, and came out to a couple races. I came to Talladega, I remember one time, and us meeting outside the bus.
Yes.
And tell me a little bit about how you kind of got to following racing.
Oh, man, it's just been a passion family. You know, granddaddy watched it, my daddy and them watched it, and then we had a dirt track. I grew up like about a mile and a half, actually probably about 2 miles from the house, 3 miles from the house, and we'd always go to it when we were kids, you know, and I just loved, you know, racing, period. And then so it just kind of like, as we got older, you know, it escalated into the NASCAR and being able to come up there and, you know, see the guys, you know, follow the guys like your dad and Mark Martin. And, you know, just back in the day, that was the thing to do, you know, because on Sundays, you know, it wasn't football, it was NASCAR, you know. I mean, it was. Yep. And then getting to meet y'all and hang out with y'all, and it's been a pleasure and an honor.
Yeah, it's been fun to get to know you. You're quite a character in the golf world, and when I think, you know, listen, I'm a casual golf fan, but when I think about that world, I think you would stick out like a sore thumb in terms of personality, and so I think that's why a lot of people gravitated towards you or really enjoyed not only seeing you do well on the course, but you know, media press conferences and all that stuff. There's a couple fun clips of you out there on YouTube. I want to know, first off, how you got the nickname Boo.
I got it from, I was little, man. Yogi Bear and Boo Boo, the cartoon. My daddy used to walk in, and, you know, when he'd come in from work, he'd always holler, "How about you, Boo Boo?" And of course, I was a little kid, you know, and I got to laughing about it and, you know, grinning. And I mean, I was little. And then it just kind of stuck from there, you know, and it was just the name that, like, every time my daddy started calling me that, and then my granddaddy started calling me that, you know, and it just kind of stuck to family members, and, you know, and you can't give your own self a nickname, you know, you got to let somebody.
You can't self-appoint. Yes. You cannot self-appoint a nickname.
No, you cannot.
So, what's it like when you're, you know, when you're walking up to the 18th green and, you know, you're having a great game, right? You're having an awesome round, and you got all those people in the stands around chanting your name, because there's not a lot of people, even in any sport, that have a chantable identifier, right? Like Boo.
Yeah.
And so, you know, what's that feel like on those days when things are going right?
It's awesome, man. When you have so many people pulling for you, and they want you to do good, and like you said, walking up 18, gives you goosebumps and chill bumps when you're walking up it and knowing that you have finally succeeded and you finally have beat everybody at that golf course and the golf course itself. It's a feat of its own, but being able to hear your name being called out and they remember who you are, not just from a golf, but as a lot of people know, my personality, like you were saying earlier, it's who I am. And sometimes it's hard to embrace it, as you know, and sometimes it's fun when you're not playing good and they still chant your name.
Yeah. I wonder why you fell in love with golf. How did that happen?
Man, I played through high school and went off to college, and then I dropped out of college and came home and went to work at Monsanto for 3 years, and I was just a weekend warrior. I was really done with golf. I really didn't want to play golf no more. It was just kind of one of them things that I was over it. And then Heath Slocum, buddy of mine that I graduated high school with, and he plays out on the PGA Tour with me, and he plays with me on the senior tour. And his daddy started a mini tour, and he happened to call me up or call my dad up because we didn't have cell phones then, and wanted to talk to me and said that he needed people to play in the tournament, the mini tour event, and it just happened to be at one of the golf courses I kind of played a lot on, and so I had to ask my foreman out there at the plant if I could do it, and we was in the middle of a shutdown, so he was like, long as you can come and do the shutdown and you can go play. And I was like, all right, I'll work the night shift, and so I'd go and do the night shift. When I got done, I'd go to the golf course, shower, play golf, and then turn right back around, shower again, and put my work clothes on and go back to work, and then it was a 24-hour shut, or actually it was it was a week shutdown, full week shutdown on some of the part of the plant out there. And so I was sleeping in my truck for like 2 hours and then getting up and playing golf and then going back to work after I got done. Well, I ended up winning that tournament, and then I declared myself a pro because I made $3,000. I made $3,000 and I was making $625 an hour out there at the plant. That's a no-brainer. So I turned pro in golf in 97.
What was the job that you had at the plant?
I was a hydroblaster, and then I
What
did
does
a lot
that
of
do?
maintenance. The hydroblaster, they lower us down into like the ammonia tanks, the bigger tanks out there, the million-gallon tanks, and we'd have to spray it with a high pressure, just like if you go to a car wash. It was like that, but we were running probably right around 32 to 36,000 psi's. And I mean, this thing it cut your toe off if you ain't careful, And like, I'm being serious, because when you wore it,
Yeah.
and you wore that suit, you'd have to wear like over your feet. You had metal plates that went over your feet, and you had to wear a Kevlar suit over your clothes because if that hose busted or something, you didn't want to get it, cut you in half.
Damn.
There's a lot of pressure on that water.
It sounds like one of the worst jobs ever.
No, it wasn't bad. Like I said, it was a job, and I needed the money. And my daddy told me I was sucking up all his AC and eating all the food up. And he told me I need to get out of the house. So I got a job, got out of the house.
That's hilarious. So when you decide to turn pro, what do you got to do? You got to fill out a form. You got to tell somebody, mail something in.
No, you just declare yourself a pro and you pay your entry fee. And
for what? Entry fee for what?
Like the mini,
whatever tournament you go to.
Yeah, every tournament. Like on playing the mini tours, you got to. Yes, sir. Because it's kind of the money that you're playing for is your money.
Yeah.
Because like we played the Hooters tour back in the day, we played the Tight Lies tour, we played, all over the DP tour, the Coca-Cola Montgomery tour, Coca-Cola tour. We played everywhere, and some of them, like the Montgomery tour, you had to pay up front like $15,000.
Damn.
You'd play in like 13 tournaments, but like first place was like $25,000 to $30,000 if you won
each game, each
tournament. Yes, sir. And they paid all the way to like 15 spots or 20 spots according to how many people was in the field. Like they might be 60 of us. And so they might pay 15 spots. They'll pay like, 15% of it or 20% of it and stuff like that.
you talked about how you made the $3,000 in that first tournament. As you're going on into this process of playing in all these different tournaments and all these different series and paying all this money, was the financial stuff working out like you hoped?
Well, I started with 5,000 of my own money, and then I went to the golf course where I grew up at Tanglewood here in Milton. And I went to the members out there and asked them if they would be willing to sponsor me. And like
Yep.
some of them gave me $500, some of them gave me $1,000. So I kind of started out with right around $20,000. And then, and what you do, like I said, you pay for your entry fee, which was normally anywhere between $500 to $350 a tournament on the mini tours. And I would pay back to my LLC at the time was that what I was under. I'd pay 75% of that back, and then I'd keep 25% to myself until I got everybody paid off. And then I would flip it around where it'd go 25 to them, 75 to me.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, when we paid taxes, and once we paid the taxes, what money was out of the taxes, and I still had $20,000. What was left over, I paid to them because that was their interest in what we did.
Yeah. And so did it work out?
Oh, yeah, it worked out good. I mean, I did it for all the way to 2001.
Yeah.
And then that's when I got my tour card, and then I paid them all. Once I got my tour card, and I got a signing bonus from I think it was Callaway at the time, and Cleveland. I was playing Cleveland irons and Callaway golf ball at the time, and so then once I got my signing bonus, I bought them out. I gave everybody double their money what they put into it right out the gate.
Yeah. So these are the people that were back at your old golf course, they're sponsors.
Yes, sir.
They were literally just financiers.
Right. Yes, sir. That's all it was.
Yeah. And damn.
They were taking a chance, and like I said, the first year, I think we only made right at about 38,000. And then the next year I think it was close to 60 something thousand. I started getting more comfortable out there playing and doing my thing. And then I got more into bigger tournaments, the play on the Hooters tour. They pay out a lot more. I think it was 10 to 15,000 a tournament they paid out. I played good out there, and all the other tournaments, mini tours I was playing in, and then traveling from all the states. Each state has used to have a state tournament.
Yeah.
And we would play, I'd play in them. You could, as a pro, you could play in them, and now I don't think you can play in them no more. But travel to all the tournaments or all the states and play in their big tournament each year.
One of my favorite YouTube videos of you is you finished a round somewhere at some course. You were one shot off the course record. And they asked you about it. I think you shot a 62 and the record on the course was a 61. And they said, hey, did you know they asked you, they said, one off the course record. That's pretty impressive. And you were like, really? I didn't even know that. And they were like, they went into this long sort of conversation with you around, how do you not know what the course record is? And you're like, I'm only here to make the money and I'm gone. I'm going to make whatever I make so I can make a living the rest of my life, and I'm going to be back on the farm, back down at the house, doing what I want to do. And do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Video? Yeah. What was the situation? What course was that?
That was at Southern Hills, and it was there in the PGA. I think it was one of the PGA championships. And, I was on the last hole, and I three-putted it. And that's why I made bogey on the last hole. And like I said, I didn't know about no course record, didn't know nothing about what was going on. All I know is I was just trying to make birdies.
Yes.
I was trying to jump up the leaderboard where because I think I ended up finishing fifth that week, but it would have put me in third if I would have, and I run that first putt by. I had about a 12, 14 foot or something like that. And I run it by about 3 feet and then lift it out, end up making bogey. And then that's when they asked me about man, did you know that, if you'd have done this or done that, you'd have had the course record, and then you'd have had the lowest round ever in a major. And I was like, man, I ain't worried about none of that. I mean, you're always made to be broken, and, all that money ain't,
Yeah. I feel like that video really I really, I love that video. For months I was sending it around to friends of mine, like, listen to this guy. This is what it's all about, because you really humanized yourself, and you made yourself very relatable in that moment. And you talked about how when you were young, you'd finished out of high school and college and all that. You were done with golf, and then you got back into it, right? And you turned pro in 2002.
No, I turned pro in '97, but got my tour card in '91.
Gotcha. Yeah, you got your tour card. So, but you still had this mentality of, I'm not doing this all my life.
No.
I'm gonna do this to a point to where I'm comfortable financially, and then I'm gone. Yeah. I mean, did that ever change? Did you ever have years where you're like, nope, I'm in this as long as I can go. I'm gonna be in this till I can't do it no more. What's kind of been your mindset?
Well, I wanted that was my goal, was to make enough money to reach. I had everything I had. I had some financial guys, advisors. I had my team work on it. We broke it all down, how much I could make and what I need to do and how I can do it, how long it would, this would work. But then, of course, I got that big D and that divorce, and that kind of, I had to come back and go back to work.
Is that really it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, that kind of put a kink in my giddy up on my financial side. Yeah, because if not, I'd be down here fishing and hunting like what I would be.
But listen, that's what I don't get, man. It's like you're good at golf. You're good enough to go out there and win money and make money and have fun.
I do now. I'm on a senior tour now, and
I know, but you only doing it because you got to do it. Like, you are good enough to do it because you're good at it.
Yeah, I'm good at it, but it's still I love the competition. I love the grind of the competition. I don't like to go out and work at it as much as I used to. Like, I don't like standing out there pounding balls and it's 100 degrees here right now. Heat index 108, whatever. But, back in the day when I was younger, I wasn't nothing to go out there and pound balls, be up there at the golf course at daylight, 7 o'clock, hitting, chipping, playing 9 holes, figuring out where I'm messing up at, go to the range, work on it, and then, then go back on the golf course and start trying to figure it out again. And it's just like I got a little older, and it's kind of like harder for my body to do all that work because the arthritis in my hands, I got neck problems running down into my back and stuff like that from my previous past of playing football and baseball and stuff like that. It kind of has hurt.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought, man, there's something about golf that I don't know. And I mean, look, I think I became a fan of yours, right? And you got Boo Weekley is a kick-ass name. It's easy name to find in the chart. Easy name to look in the rundown. There he is. And I know your personality's awesome. I know you're an easygoing guy about the serious, very important thing that you do. But I always kind of wondered, like, what are the things about golf that do make it hard? Because I know in racing, like, for example, there are things about the job that when I go to the racetrack as a broadcaster and I see a driver go through something, I'm like, man, I don't miss that part. It would be the heat, right? This past weekend at Dover, it was really miserable. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I ain't getting in one of them cars today. So, like, what are some of the things around golf as a PGA pro that were really, really difficult? Because we just see the highlights. Right. We just see the great stuff, the Instagram. We don't see all the hard, tough things that go into being a pro.
I think the hardest thing now that is the traveling.
Yeah.
Is the getting on the airplanes and having to, because flying now is so much difficult than what it was 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. After COVID and all the stuff, it made it tougher. 9/11, everything's gotten a lot tougher. With the flying and the hotels, everything's gone up so much, spending cost wise, and But I'd say the hardest thing really is just being away from your family. You know, I mean, to me, you know, and my kids didn't travel much with me out there, and I wish they could have, would have, and you know, but at the same time, hindsight 2020, it was kind of hard to be able to do. I felt like it was harder for me to do my job
when they were there.
Because I
Oh yeah,
spent time with them and we wanted to go to the water park, or we wanted to go, you know, to the Ferris wheel rides and slides.
You can't do that.
And I mean, you could, and a lot of guys have done it, you know, out there, and they have been successful with it. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to have, you know, the family out there, which it wasn't hard for them to be out there as much as it was knowing that if I'd have had somebody there that was really gun ho for me to do the best that I could do and take care of my kids at the same time, it would have made it a lot easier. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have that support. And that was the only thing that kind of broke me down, of saying, all right, y'all just stay home. I'm going to stay out here, and I'll stay out for 5 to 6 weeks, or a month to 6 weeks. And then I'll come home for 2 weeks. And then the first week I'd come home, I'd do nothing but just mean what the kids want to do. Mm-hmm. You know, and then as soon as that week was over, now I go, that following week, I'm going back to grinding and working. You know, I'm going to leave the house before daylight, and I'll be back right before dark.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I try to practice early in the mornings for all the heat, and then kind of chill out a little bit, maybe fish a little bit at some of the golf course ponds, and then, you know, then go back to practicing and working to get my mind away from the golf, and then, you know, then start all over again the next week. And then we go back on the road again for a month to 5 weeks.
When you first got your tour card, that thing was hard to hang on to.
Yeah, I got hurt my rookie year out. I hit a root, and I messed some ligaments up in my left wrist. And when I kept playing, came home, I think the week after I did it, and then I came home, got the doctors look at it. They told me, they said, we can do surgery, or we can just give you a couple shots and see if we can get this thing fixed. You know, see if it'll heal itself, but you're going to have to quit golf for a little while. And I said, no. I said, we're just going to tape it up, because I ain't got but 1 year out here. You know, I got to establish myself. And at the time, I didn't know nothing about medical. If I could have, you know, figured it out, because I didn't have an agent then. I was kind of on my own. So I didn't know how the PGA, all that stuff worked. And if I'd have known that, you know, I could have took a medical, had the surgery, you know, and it took, you know, right at about 4 to 6 months off and got it fixed up, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Oh.
And, but I didn't know that. So I tried to play through the pain and play through everything. And then when I got done, lost my card, knew I had a card on a nationwide tour. I went ahead and had the surgery done that winter in the off season. I had my wrist worked on, and then we kind of did our own thing, and then started back practicing again, and then kind of stayed out there on the nationwide tour till I got healed back up. And then I got my tour card back in 07.
When you're on the nationwide tour, what was keeping you motivated to get that PGA card back?
I wanted it in my heart. I wanted it. Yeah. My high school best friend that plays out on tour, because we both got our tour card at the same time, Heath Slocum. And he was the one that was pushing me. He's always been the one that pushed me to be a better player. And then luckily I grew up with him, because the way I feel about it is if I could beat him and he's out on the PGA Tour, well, I belong on the PGA Tour. I mean, that was my whole theory of what how my concept was in my head, you know, and he drove me. And he drove me to be better. Like, he'd come home, he was living here a little bit in Pensacola, and you know, and we'd practice and play every day, you know, and then he'd be like, hey man, change your putting grip, change this, let's do this, let's do that, we got to get this better, you know, and he was one of the ones that just drove me to make myself better at golf, and to be better at golf, and to be a better person at golf, not to get mad.
Yeah.
And that was the hardest part I had, because I had a pretty good little temperament on me, you know, when I played golf, because, you know, if I miss a 3-putt, or I miss a short putt, and, you know, miss another short putt, and next thing you know, that putter might not make it, you know, the next or two, you know, I might be with a wedge, that putter might be broke in half. My temperament back in the day.
You ended up winning your first PGA Tour victory in 2007 at the Heritage Classic in South Carolina. Talk me through the emotions around winning your first PGA Tour victory. Why? And I guess another question too, because you go back and you followed it up with a second consecutive win at the same. It's the same tour, or at the
same course.
Same course the next year in 08.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about specific courses? Why is one golfer adapt to one course versus the other?
For me personally, to be able to win that first tournament was unreal. I mean, it was very emotional because we had a weather delay on that Sunday and we had to finish up on a Monday. And the winds were blowing 30, 40 miles per hour. I mean, I normally hit a 7-iron like right at 175 to 180, and I was hitting a 7-iron that day dead into the wind. It might have been going 130, 145. And then to come back, to chip in back to back to win my first PGA event was, first thing is very unheard of. And then second thing, the good Lord was blessing me at that time. And I put a lot of work in it, during that time, chipping, putting. And about a month before that, I 3-putted to lose a tournament. I had to lead a 1-shot lead on the last day and knocked it on the 2, or my third shot on the green, and it's par 5, and it was down at the Honda Classic down in Fort Lauderdale. And I ended up 3-putting it, and then so I went to working on my putting and chipping. For that whole month, that's all I did was just work on chipping and putting and trying to figure out things, and it paid off. And then just that golf course is very similar to the one I kind of grew up on. It's very tight. You ain't got to hit it high. You can play a bump and run around the greens. You had to hit it to a certain distance off the tee, because if you hit it too far, you're blocked out. If you don't hit it far enough, you're blocked out. So it's kind of like, it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. You got to put this piece here to make this piece fit over here. It's just kind of like, and that's the kind of golf I like to play, is where you got to hit it 270 off a tee, but you can't hit it 280.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, sometimes it goes 280, and you just got to, we got to come up with a different shot. You got to be able to work the ball around the trees. And like that golf course is kind of, tree line fairways and tight little golf course. And that's kind of like what I grew up on, and Bermuda grass greens. And I like Bermuda grass. Bent grass drives me nuts. I can't read that stuff. That's like reading Chinese.
Had success in Charlotte.
Yeah, I played pretty good up there a few times.
Yeah, you did. You came to my house one day. I had this. You'd been over by our place before and hung out with Sonny and the guys and drank beer. And
oh yeah,
you came by one time and brought a golf ball or a golf bag with you full of golf clubs, and you said that set played the tournament over in Charlotte.
Yes, sir.
And you left that with me. That's like somebody giving you a winning race car.
If I'd have won with them, I might not have had to give them to you. But I think I finished 3rd or 4th that tournament with them clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a chance of winning, but I hit it in the water on 17.
So I got these clubs, and I'm a casual fan, and I don't know all the mechanics of how golf works and what y'all do, why you have different grips and shafts and all that stuff, and you got little tiny lead weight stickers and stuff all over these clubs. And I pull these clubs out of this bag, and I'm like, holy everything is, there's not one club the same.
Mm-mm.
Not one shaft, not one grip. And like, you've taken this set of clubs and you've like tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked, and everything's very specific.
Right.
And then everything's very intentional. And there's all these little lead stickers all over everything.
Yep.
And why did you, I guess I got a lot of questions I never got to ask you. Why did you want to part with those?
Well, I had another set built. And I won't, because after about, I think I used to switch clubs about every 3 months.
Uh-huh.
And it was that was about the 3rd month,
They ran their course.
They ran their course, and because I just switch them, because then when you start bending them, because when you, just like anything else, the more you bend on it, the weaker it's going to get, and then it's going, and you're always hitting the ground with it. So you got to think over so many. You hit 1,000 balls with that one club. Sooner or later, it's going to get out of whack.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I gave them clubs to you, because I already had another set built that I knew that we ain't done nothing to them yet. They come straight out of the factory. I lead taped them. I got lead tape on the toe, and some of them, like you were saying, I had lead tape on the heel, and then we get brake dust and mix it in with our epoxy and put the weight or brake dust because it makes it heavier, and put it in the club because I wanted my clubs around D5 to D4 weight wise, and some of the heads were too light, so that's why I put lead tape on them, and then I put lead tape on the toe to keep it from drawing. Like, there's a lot of science. Like, just like y'all, when y'all with y'all's race car, what tire y'all gonna put on this side? How big is the wedge gonna be? And it's the same thing. It's all,
I know,
how you set up.
I was really, really fascinated with how specific and intentional every detail was on that set of clubs. But I was also, I'm sure I said thank you, but I never really did get to tell you. I never really did get to tell you how much that meant to me, because I still have those clubs. And I'll tell you, it's like having a race. It's like having a winning race car or a race used helmet or a race used pair of gloves. It's incredible to have that bag of clubs that I know that my favorite golfer has been out on the course and in the tournament playing. So that was something that was really badass.
Yeah.
You were on the winning team for the 2008 Ryder Cup. This was when I think if everybody in the world didn't know who you were, they did after this was all said and done, because you brought your unique personality and humor to a very, very big platform with the Ryder Cup there, and with being on the winning team that year. What was that experience like?
Oh man, you give me goosebumps now. It's probably the greatest tournament I've ever played in, by far. Like, I mean, just the fan base, the whole mentality of our team, you're representing not just me, because usually, everything you do, you're representing yourself. That's all
Mm-hmm.
When you're playing out on the PGA Tour events, you're representing yourself, your demeanor, how you act, how you do everything. But the Ryder Cup, you're representing the United States, and everybody there is pulling for the USA. Because we ain't done nothing. They've been kicking our ass for the last so many years, and and now it's our turn to shine. And like, the way I felt about it is, I'm there for every fan that was there. I wasn't there for me. I was there for every fan, United States. Everybody was watching it on TV, the whole 9 yards. That's who I was there for. And like I said, to be able to play in it was nerve wracking. At first, the whole, like, the 3 days of us getting prepped to go play in it was just unreal, the nerve wracking, because like, we would play the back nine and the Euros would play the front nine, and then we'd flip flop because they didn't want us playing together. Even though we were friends, we played a lot of golf with them all, and it was just, they didn't want us to be together.
You talked about it being anxious and nervous just in the prep. At what point, I guess, during the matches do you find your groove and you get to have fun? You kind of, because there's moments during that Ryder Cup where you were comfortable, you were able to, like, be yourself, and you just laid it on that. You just laid it on there and let everybody know who Boo Weekley was. At what point in the whole process does it get comfortable where you can start to kind of have some fun and be who you are?
Just getting it off the first tee, getting it airborne right off the first tee. Boy, if you can just get it airborne, I was ready. Like, I was ready to play it in, because it was kind of like, all right, here we are. We got to do something, and let's go play golf. Let's have fun. And like I said, once we got it airborne off the first hole, I was like, all right, it's just another round of golf. It's just, we here to kick their butt, and let's go kick it. There ain't no need in sitting here and worrying about it. Every shot does count, but you got a partner at the same time, and you got your whole team behind you too. They're playing too, so it ain't just like I said, it wasn't just an individual thing. It was like we was playing for everybody.
I guess around this same time, you were making tons of sacrifices to be that successful. And being selfish to an extent.
It was a lot of sacrifices, and you gave up a lot of things, a lot of opportunities, a lot of time that at the same time, would I change it? No, I wouldn't change nothing about it, because I wouldn't be where I'm at to this day, and I wouldn't be the person that learned who I am as a person. Because, we all going to make mistakes in life, and we all going to, you ain't going to make everybody happy in life. So you got to figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it, and have a game plan. And, and you got to have your family support. You got to have your friends support. And, and that's the bigger difference of me, is I had a big family support through my mom and dad, and my aunt and uncles and cousins. And then at the same time, the friends and the guys I played golf with, and then, a lot of it I played for my kids, and I wanted them, that I have the things that I didn't have growing up as a kid. But at the same time, I wanted to learn, how hard I'm really working at what I'm doing to get to where I'm at in life. It wasn't given to me. I mean, there wasn't nobody standing out there hitting them balls for me, practicing that putting for me, and that's, sacrifices that you got to give up. But at the same time, you look back at it, it's like, wow, that's impressive that you did all that and can still do what you're doing now, and be able to spend time with your friends and your family.
Hey, everybody, you want the latest Dale Jr. download apparel? Visit shop.dirtymomedia.com. We're always adding new stuff all the time, especially like when we say something silly on this show. We'll put it on a t-shirt. Again, check it out at shop.dirtymomedia.com. You ended up getting tendonitis at around 2017. You'd have to slow way down on your playing time. What's the career expectancy of a golfer that's trying to do what you're trying to do? Did you feel like that you had accomplished everything you wanted to? Did you feel like that you got cut short on your opportunity to maybe accomplish more? Where were you when you were faced with this sort of challenge, this physical challenge?
I think the physical challenge was I didn't. I mean, I'm not one to work out a whole lot. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go get, run 9 or 10 miles or work out, lifting weights, stay in the best shape that I can. That's not my whole demeanor, because I'm enjoy life. I get done playing golf, whether I shot 66 or 76, I'm gonna go have me a couple cold beers or some kind of a drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or go lay in the pool, and we're gonna marinate in the pool for a little bit, and we're gonna enjoy life. Go fishing when I get done. Like if I see a good fishing pond, especially like there at Wachovia there in Charlotte, man, they have one of the best fishing ponds on tour. I mean, so I get done, I go fish for a little while and have, that's my breakdown, my mental side of breaking down of getting away from golf.
Yeah.
But it was the body, the surgeries and stuff like that, it's all self-conflicted. I mean, it's just me being me, breaking fingers on the tractor, working on my truck, working on the tractor, working on my farm, bush hogging, disking, all that stuff, falling off the ladder stand, deer hunting. I mean, falling out of a shooting house because I didn't take time to put a new runner up on the steps going into the shooting house stuff. I mean, that's just self-inflicted stuff that I did and who I am, and I love it. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't trade nothing, because you learn from what you do, your mistakes, but the golf. I mean, I got to where I was hurting, and I would have said I'd have probably played. I'd have kept playing all the way through if I wouldn't have got hurt.
Yeah.
But I would have probably wrapped it up if I would have played in the President's Cup. That's the only, to me, because that's the only thing that I never got to do to play in that I actually represented my country in. Because I got to play in the World Cup. Me and Heath Slocum played in it, and then got to play in the Ryder Cup. And if I could have played in the President's Cup, that would have been all three things besides playing in the Olympics now, which I think that's a joke. They shouldn't have no pros in the Olympics. That should be for college kids.
Well, you're back at it. As you mentioned, you're back playing again. You started playing in the PGA Tour Champions. You say it's because of you needed to get a little bit of money after the Big D.
Yep.
But listen, I mean, I look at your social media and you look like you're having fun. and you look like, I know you enjoy being out there and playing, and you don't know, maybe you do. I guess I'll ask you, how many people have reached out to say it's so good to see you back on the course again, to be able to pull for you, to be able to watch you play and hope you do well?
Oh, it's been a lot, man, and it's been, and the tour has been so supportive, and Susan has helped me out so tremendously. My fiance has, of getting me back motivated first on golf, and second, she knows how to do this media stuff, and to where I never understood how big an influence it really is. What people really want to see, not just on the golf course, but off the golf course, of like me hunting, or me, catching, messing with rattlesnakes, or, just turtles, whatever, just doing different things, it's like she had the idea. We were playing at the PGA, I think last year or year before last, or that was last year, wasn't it? Yes, PGA we was playing in, and we were trying to find a rental car to get home. Or not home, but to the next tournament, and we couldn't find a rental car nowhere. Well, we happened to be driving by a UPS building or store, and she's like, "Well, let's just get rent a U-Haul, or rent something." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Let's just rent a U-Haul. We're going right." And all of a sudden, we went by the UPS store, and then all of a sudden there was a U-Haul, and I was like, I never wasn't even paying attention. She saw the sign, and the next thing you know, she's on her phone over there, like, she knows how to work these computers and all that stuff, and she looks that up, and sure enough, we get us a dang U-Haul. And I was thinking it's going to be like a little U-Haul, they got just a regular truck, like a 1,500 or 2,500 truck. No, we got in a 15 or 20-foot box truck. What we got,
damn,
toted everybody's golf club that was in that tournament to the next tournament. That's how big this thing was.
No.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
She set it all up like it was her idea, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And then, sure enough, we drove that thing I think it was right at 5 hours. I think it was, to get it over to the next tournament, and then we traded out that vehicle for my courtesy car.
What are your expectations, I suppose, as you continue to play professionally? What type of, do you have any kind of personal goals or expectations?
Yeah, last year my goal was, starting. It was last year. I said I just want to make it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
and I made it to the first round of playoffs. Played good, just didn't play good enough to make it to the second round. And this year we kind of sat down, me and my caddy and some other people, and just kind of crunched my numbers. All my golf numbers at the golf courses, because you got to relearn the golf courses, and you got to relearn all the traveling again, because to me that's been the hardest part, is traveling right now, just trying to figure it all out, because it's not as easy as it was back then. And but learning the golf courses, and we know them now, we know where our expectations, where we messed up at last year. We can look back at the records, stuff that we recorded and wrote down and took notes on, and kind of get a game plan going into this year. And this year my goal was, all right, I want to finish inside the top 36 and keep my tour card. And so far I'm starting to play good middle way. I changed some irons out and changed some stuff out, and now I'm back to where I feel like I can compete and play and put myself into contention like I did the week before last. I think I finished third, tied for third, but had a chance to really do something. But unfortunately, I got a back problem, and my neck problem, and it started acting up, and I just couldn't finish out the golf, my last round, the way I wanted to.
How long do you think you want to play, or is it just you just kind of leave that up in the air until?
I want to play. Right now, I'd love to play till I'm about 60.
Yeah, damn, son, that's 8 more years.
That's 8 more years. Yes.
Hell yeah.
I'd like to play.
I love it. I like it.
Years, and then me and Susan get to do some traveling while we're out on the road, and we ain't got to play in every event. We can just kind of, we can take this week off because we ain't never been in this part of the country. Or she ain't never been in this part of the country. Let's go spend 3 or 4 days here, and then drive up to another spot, go over to the Grand Canyon, look through it, walk through it, take pictures, jump off the bluff and parachute down or something. Who knows? I know she ain't, but I'll try it. She says she ain't getting up in no airplane and jumping out of it while it's flying.
talking about a couple things you want to achieve. I know there's some things that you have done that people wouldn't believe. You once fought an orangutan. How did that happen?
Oh man, we was in high school, and it was at our little fair over here, and the guy brought this orangutan out, and he started hollering 5 for 50. Cost you 5, but pays 50. And we're like, what? This must be like for the kids to pet it or something. Well, all of a sudden, the guy walks up, and the guy told him what it was, and next thing you know, he steps in the ring, and he gets knocked down. And next other guy
by the orangutan.
By the orangutan. Oh yeah, you got gloves. You had amateur boxing headgear on. Orangutan had gloves on. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, to think about it, it was crazy. And
it is crazy.
So after about 3 or 4 or 5 guys went through there, well, me, like I said, we were partying right there on top of the hill by where it was all that was going on, and right down the road from there, we were camping out down on Blackwater River on a big sandbar, and we had a boat down there. We had a big old fire going on the sandbar, and that's what we did back when we were kids. We all camped down on the river, and so we were done run out of beer that I done stole from my daddy and my granddaddy, and we had some moonshine. We done drank all this stuff up. Well, we out of beer. We ain't got none of us. We all broke. We're kids, and so we was like, well, 5 for 50. So we all scrounged up money out of our truck. And then they said, all right, we're drawing straws. Well, we drew straws. And of course, I was a short man on the straw. And I was like, man, I don't do that. Let's don't do that. It's fine. We gather up some beers and we're going to shotgun the beers. I'm better at that. We eat the beer up too. And I got beat at that too. So I said, all right. So I jumped in the back of my truck, took 2 steps and jumped over the fence. And walked up there, and I paid my $5 and signed a waiver, so I can't sue the guy if the orangutan was to do something bad to me or whatever. And, I put that headgear on, put the boxing gloves on, and got in the cage with him and shuffled my feet around like Muhammad Ali, like I'm finna knock him out. And of course, my boys, they ain't like 10, 15 yards from me, and they were like, kick his ass, Boo, kick his ass. Well, I go to fake with a right and gonna hit him with a left, and next thing I know, I woke up in the back of my truck. He knocked me cold as a wedge.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
One time you dropped your keys in a porta-potty after a round of golf?
Yeah. Me and another boy named Jason Hill that played out there our rookie year on tour, and at the time I was wearing rain pants because I had some kind of disease or some kind of something on my leg that we couldn't figure out what it was. And so I had to wear rain pants, and I only had one pocket in a pair of rain pants I had, and I had my wallet and my snuff in the back, and I had the keys that's hooked over the side of my britches. Well, I go in there to use the bathroom, and I just got done eating fried chicken, so my hands are all greasy and stuff, and I just pulled my pants down and go to take a leak, and by that dang time, my keys, I seen them, man, it was like in slow motion. I seen them, and it wasn't in one of them ones that's got the little peak thing for the guys. It was just an actual toilet, and one of them Boyette toilets, and that thing hit, and I seen it sliding right to it, and I tried to catch it, but I had it barely on the tip of my finger, but that greasy old chicken got me. And they went straight down in the bottom. And then I got out of there. I went and told Jason, and we had to hurry up because we had to catch our flight out of there. We had I think an hour and 10 minutes to drive to where we had to go to get out of there. And I tried to find a coat hanger, couldn't find coat hanger, couldn't find nothing. And I already packed my golf clubs up, had them in the car, and the car was locked up. And I was like, man, we can't even get our golf clubs. I could at least get the golf clubs and try to, tongue them together, and pull them out of there. But couldn't do that neither. So finally, I just got me a good old pinch of snuff, and I smeared it right on the edge of my lip up here close to my nose so I couldn't smell nothing but dip. And I reached in there with my hand like I was a baby toy up, and I found them down there, and of course I got them out of there, and my arm was like blue from about my elbow down.
Damn.
And of course all the caddies, I had to run right by the caddies, and I already told them. I told the cart guys to get me some Clorox and some other stuff that I can clean my arm with after I get it out of there. And I come by there, and of course, a bunch of them caddies. I think his name was Van Der Reet, that used to caddy for John Daly. He said, "God dang, Boo," and he's from somewhere, I think South Africa. He said, "God dang, Boo, what'd you do? Jack off Papa Smurf?" Because my oil was like that purplish blue from here down, and dude, it was funny. I mean, it wasn't funny but I had to get him out. We had to get out of Dodge, Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's hard to top that one.
Oh,
Oh my God. Man, I bet Sonny and the boys would love to see you.
oh yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while since you.
I'd love to see them too.
They doing all right.
Yeah, I keep up with them a little bit on Instagram and some Facebook stuff.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're doing good. They always loved it when you came around, man, because you was kind of like us.
Oh yeah.
He's kind of like us.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving me some time today. It's been a lot of fun.
I appreciate it, D. I really do. It's good to see. I love to see you smiling and laughing and cutting up. You know that.
I feel the same way about you, buddy.
Yes, sir. So thank y'all so much for having me.
I hope we get to see each other sometime soon.
Well, I hope so
together.
Too.
I still like to drink cold beer too.
That's right. I know. I still drink my natural and bush.
I'll do it. I'm gonna have a few of them today.
That's right. I'm finna go play golf and practice a little bit, and then I'll have some when I get done. I don't like doing it too much unless we're gambling. Playing golf, then I'll drink a little bit. But when I'm playing, when I'm practicing, I don't drink none until I get done.
Right on. All right, buddy. Well, have a great day.
Yes, sir.
And appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much, sir.
All right, so that's an awesome conversation with Boo Weekley. I hope we don't have to edit any of that out because it's hilarious. But listen, Boo, I've always kind of been, I don't know, a little bit intimidated by golf, honestly, because I don't know, haven't met a ton of the golfers, and golfers seem like probably the most competitive, focused, perfectionists. I couldn't really relate, to what I would think a golfer would be about. And as you learn with Boo there, we're kind of similar. Like, I wasn't really into working out like Jimmy Johnson, and I wasn't really into some of the things I could be doing to try to put myself in a better position successfully, professionally. Boo's the same way. He's like, I'm good at it. I want to go do it, but I also want to live life. I want to live life on my terms. And man, when I met this guy, I was like, all right, here's a golfer that I can get behind. And this guy's like me. He's like my friends. He likes what we like to do. And we did that. He would come around for the Charlotte race weekends. He would come and stay on the property and hang out, drink beer with Sonny and the guys. I was racing, so I had to kind of be good, and I didn't get to party as much. So, but he would come around, and even though he couldn't hang out with me, he would hang out with Sonny and Sean and my buddies all day long, drink beer all night, and then come back the next Charlotte race, do it again, because he enjoyed them. Normal, regular dudes that weren't race car drivers, weren't famous. He made friends with them. Just a really good guy. Great character, man. And I'm glad he's playing again. And that's why I wanted to bring him on the show, because, he kind of has that attitude, or he's got that perception of, hey, I'm good at this. I'm going to play it. I'm going to make a certain amount of money, and then I'm done. I'm going to go to my farm, fish, hunt, do what I want to do, be with my family. But I'm like, I'm the fan that wants him out there, wants him playing, And I'm glad that he's found an avenue to continue to compete. And hell, he wants to keep doing it for 8 more years or so, which is awesome to hear. And I hope he does. I think his age and his physical, fitness will catch up with him before 60. But, I think he can, I'm glad he's out there competing, because I felt like that parts of his career, especially later, kind of were affected by injury and so forth, and we really didn't get to enjoy all the all the great Boo Weekley moments and sound bites that we were going to get. But just a great guy, and thankful that he gave us some time today, and I'm glad to see him doing well. And I don't know a more colorful, funnier, relatable person in the golf ecosystem. Now, I'm a casual fan, and I don't know everyone, but he's a pretty awesome dude. If there's another one like him, I'd love to meet him out there in the PGA Golf Tour world. So, all right, let's move to the white flag. All right, so the teardown came out after the race at Dover, live on YouTube and Twitter. You can watch that all again as the team breaks down the instant reaction after the post-race. And Actions Detrimental was out as well with Denny Hamlin giving us some great feedback on how he was able to maintain the lead late in the race. And just always fun. Denny also dropped by for the Tuesday recording of Dale Jr. Download with TJ Majors, and we talked about his win there as well. Door Bumper Clear came out this week with Ty Dillon as Ty Dillon continues that Cinderella run to try to win $1 million in the bracket challenge. And so I think the best people that I could think, I see Ty Dillon give interviews all the time, and he's always so perfect and straight-laced and careful about what he says. And I'm glad that he got on Door Bumper Clear because I'm sure those guys got the real meat out of the conversation and really got him to open up a little bit. And also this week, Herman Schrader, Speed Street, they're dropping today, tomorrow, another episode of Bless Your Heart with Amy. Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Hope everybody's having a good week. Hope you enjoyed Boo Weekley. Hope you're now a Boo Weekley fan like me.